with Mitsumi Takahashi.
Good evening from the Legault government today. The presentation of what's being called the law of all laws. It is the Quebec Constitution Act 2025. It sets out Quebec's values and guiding principles for future legislation. The CAQ says it includes all Quebecers, but not everyone's on board. Kelly Gregg reports from Quebec City.
It's known as Bill 1. The Quebec Constitution sets out to highlight the province's distinctions within Canada.
We are in the Canadian Federation, so the supreme law is the Canadian Constitution.
That still holds true, but any future laws will also have to follow the provincial constitution, which defines Quebec's values. They include secularism, Quebec's model of integration, and protection of the French language. All topics the CAQ campaigned on and passed controversial laws like Bills 21 and 96.
That's a tool inside the Canadian Federation to be sure to protect the autonomy of Quebec.
The English Montreal School Board is currently challenging the CAQ's language law. But going forward, the new law would stop public institutions from using taxpayer money on court battles. Lawyer Frédéric Bérard says that is a major flaw.
We want to have a full possibility to challenge in court the constitutionality of laws. This is how it works. I mean, you cannot suspend that.
If you want to contest bills of the National Assembly and you are in a public organization, take your own money.
The Constitution also enshrines the right to abortion, respect for English-speaking communities, and a break from monarchical traditions like MNAs having to swear an oath to the Crown. While the opposition supports the idea of a constitution, it says the CAQ is working backwards, introducing the bill first and consulting on it second.
The problem is that there was no opportunity for the society to discuss this at large.
It should be done by the people, for the people, not only by Simon-Jeanin Barrette in his office.
It's a useless exercise by the CAQ government.
The Justice Minister refused to answer if the Constitution could be passed by a simple majority or if more support would be needed in the House. The CAQ rebuffing the idea the Constitution is a way to rally support, even if it is less than a year before the election.
Vive le Québec.
Kelly Gregg, CTV News, Quebec City.
There are more people living on the streets, more homeless encampments. Shelters don't have enough beds. Montreal's next mayor will have to address these problems, but how to do it will depend on who is elected. Here's Olivia O'Malley.
There's a chill in the air, but the temperature is nothing compared to what winter is like for people living on the streets. A reality Montreal's mayoral candidates say they're aware of.
It was the #1 priority that we announced on day one of our campaign in July.
The first thing will be homelessness.
Soraya Martinez-Ferrada with Ensemble Montreal says it's why, if elected, she promises to put $100 million towards emergency shelters, saying the money will be used to renovate, build, or buy buildings for shelters in more places across the entire city.
To relieve the pressure on the fact that right now many of the refuge are just overflowing of people because we have not enough spaces.
There has been a chronic lack of space in homeless shelters during our cold winters, and the number of people ending up on the street continues to rise. According to the 2024 census, the number of sheltered homeless people increased by 15% in a year and a half. Transition Montreal's Craig Sauvé is proposing a tax on what he calls the ultra-rich. Sauvé says people who own a condo or home worth more than $3.5 million will pay more in taxes.
We're going to take the entirety of that money and put it towards homelessness, which would, in our estimation, triple the amount of funding that the City of Montreal gives to homelessness.
CTV News asked for an interview with Projet Montréal's mayoral candidate, Luc Rabouin. The party's next potential executive committee chair responded, saying developing transitional housing continues to be a priority.
We need to continue to buy land like this land that we gave to a non-profit organization to do social housing.
While the ways to deal with homelessness differ, it's a key issue shared by the candidates that they plan to tackle the day they start in office. Olivia O'Malley, CTV News.
There are renewed calls for tougher rules to guard against dog attacks. A Montreal woman was seriously injured yesterday by 3 dogs. She was walking along the street. 2 of the dogs were shot and killed by police. Now the 3rd one has been seized. Sweeta Rassi reports.
The 3rd dog involved in Wednesday's attack is now being held here at the Pro Anima shelter in Montreal's South Shore.
So we're not analyzing or treating the cases, but yes, we have picked up the dog.
A 45-year-old woman is still in hospital. She suffered serious injuries after she was attacked by 3 dogs in St. Leonard. 2 of those dogs were shot and killed by police. That attack was a painful reminder for Dominique Alain. She was also attacked by 3 dogs in 2019 in Potain.
I feel so bad for the victim and my heart is with her.
Alain still lives with the injuries.
And I live now with physical pain.
Alain says the owner of the dogs involved in her attack did serve time in prison, but she still believes tougher laws are needed. Montreal's SPCA agrees. The group says prevention is key and is calling on all levels of government to adopt stronger rules around dog breeding and sales and to make sure owners follow the law. According to the City of Montreal, there is slightly more than 100 dogs registered as potentially dangerous. Once a dog is on that list, the owner will be given a permit and the dog will have to wear a muzzle when it's outside. The City of Montreal told CTV News that the dogs involved in the attack were not on the dangerous dogs registry and that the city did not issue any special permits. Veterinarian Vincent Paradis says there could be several reasons why a dog can be violent, including the way it was socialized.
It's more about the socialization, how they are reproduced, and how they are trained or educated. This is the main part that usually bring an animal to a bite or not.
Police are still investigating, but say it's too soon to tell if the owner could face charges. As for the dog, it will remain here at the shelter until officials decide what happens next. Sweeta Rassi, CTV News.
The SQ has arrested a 16-year-old boy in connection with the death of a 19-year-old in Terrebonne. The suspect was wanted in connection with several robberies.
When people were calling to, trying to buy on Marketplace a cell phone, you would just steal the money and leave. So that's the guy we've arrested today, the 16-year-old teenager. He's the only one who's been arrested who's also going to be charged tomorrow in court.
The victim was attacked late Friday in a park in Terrebonne. Police say several people were involved in the fight when the 19-year-old was killed. And 2 teenagers have been arrested after a girl was pepper sprayed inside a restaurant in Longueuil. The girl was attacked just before 10 this morning inside a McDonald's on Curé-Poirier. She had to be taken to hospital for treatment to injuries to her eyes. Police were able to arrest a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old shortly afterwards.
The information we had at first was just, it was assault because we didn't have the information about the cell phone. But afterwards, after talking to people around and the victim, then we found out that they were trying to take her cell phone.
A 24-year-old man is in critical condition after he was hit by a train on the West Island. It happened just after 3 this morning in Dorval. Police say it appears to have been an accident. There was a fire last night in a commercial residential building on St. Hubert Street. The fire started in a mattress store on the ground floor just after 7 last night. People living above the store had to be rescued from their balconies by firefighters. No one was hurt, and the people were able to return to their homes. Police are getting creative to get the word out about Canada's most wanted criminals. And today they announced their lineup of the 25 most wanted by using models wearing masks printed with the images of the fugitives. 2 people on the list, Dylan Denis and Pierre Philogène, are wanted for murders here in Montreal. Canada's most wanted, Brian Fuentes Gramayo, is from Montreal and wanted for murder in Toronto.
To be absolutely clear, we're not asking anyone to be a hero, to intervene directly. These individuals are considered dangerous, so don't approach them. But if you know something, or if you see something, say something. Pick up the phone, your tip could make a real difference. Rewards are being offered for many of the fugitives.
There are a lot of ladybugs around this fall. There are also a lot of bugs that look like ladybugs. It's got something to do with the very dry summer. Jack Richardson explains.
If it feels like you're seeing a lot more ladybugs than usual, you aren't alone. Just ask Melina Obey, who keeps finding swarms around her house.
They've been around for about a month, so maybe started in early September. They were there. I thought it was crazy.
In the fall, ladybugs typically become less active, but that hasn't really been the case so far this year.
When we had, the 20, 25, 26, 27 degrees over the weekend, that was really warm, and that's when they're really, really active.
But the most prevalent has been the non-native and invasive Asian lady beetle, which looks very similar to a typical ladybug.
They can be recognized by the sort of right behind the head. You can sort of see like an M or a W that's white.
It's these ones that have been swarming homes. And while experts say for the most part they're harmless, that's not always the case.
They can bite once in a while, but it's usually because they feel that they're endangered. They don't have any venom or any poison.
Oh my God!
But for some, they can be a nuisance. And even when they don't bite, some say seeing so many is annoying.
I would go outside and I would have some, maybe like 15, 20 on me. They all fly in your face, so you get them in your ear, in your eyes, in your mouth.
Entomologists blame the dry summer.
With the heat of the summer and the dryness of the summer, the plants got stressed. And when a plant is stressed, it tends to reduce its defenses. And once the defenses are reduced, the aphids populations really kind of climb higher and higher.
For those who don't like them, the good news is falling temperatures mean Asian lady beetles will soon begin hibernating. Jack Richardson, CTV News.
A Quebec man is rolling his way across Canada to raise money for the battle against ALS. Yannick Richard is now at the halfway mark, and on more than one occasion, it's been a bit of a bumpy ride. Here's Christine Long.
He calls it the Great Journey or La Grande Traversée. On September 22nd, Yannick Richard began his trek east from British Columbia in his motorized wheelchair on secondary roads.
On average, 100 kilometers a day, 125. It's really, really hard for me because I'm on the road 5 or 6 hours a day. And it's hard on my hands because I have to steer the wheelchair.
Yannick is followed by a donated RV, making stops at ALS centers and hearing people's own stories of having a family member battling the disease.
He saw the RV in the road, and he did 10 kilometers just to find us, make a donation. And
Yannick himself was blindsided by a diagnosis just over 2 years ago. Soon after, he started planning this 5-province marathon to build awareness and raise funds. His family and friends are helping him along the way.
It's really about community as well. His friends, his childhood friends, his neighbors and close friends, everybody is helping him. They're taking turns to be with him every week of his journey.
Yannick's daily updates on social media are getting noticed.
But we are happy that Yannick succeeds to reach more and more people on the road.
But rolling 4,500 kilometers is no easy feat, and there have been challenges. This week, at the halfway point while crossing into Ontario, Yannick's RV broke down.
I want to continue the journey.
A local garage came to the rescue and got Yannick back on the road quickly.
He plows forward and he finds solutions, and nothing is stopping him to reach his goal to make it across Canada in his wheelchair.
It's also getting colder, and Yannick feels like he's doing his own kind of ALS ice bucket challenge. Yet, he's still on track to arrive at his hometown of Prévost near Saint-Sever on October 25th, where a big party is planned.
For the family, it will be fun. We will have food truck, pizza, microbrasserie Shawbridge, and the Café Aga will be there.
He still hopes more people will find him on social media and donate, so that one day ALS will be in the rear view mirror. Christine Long, CTV News.
The son of Arturo Gatti, the former world champion boxer from Montreal, has died at the age of 17. The body of Arturo Gatti Jr. was found in a Mexican apartment earlier this week. The cause of his death has not been confirmed. Gatti's father is in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He took his own life in 2009. He was 37 years old. It's still not clear what Mark Carney accomplished on his trip to Washington on Tuesday, especially given the comment by the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. Here's Michael Couture.
A day after the American Commerce Secretary said Canada must come second to the U.S. in the auto sector, Canadian lawmakers and car makers insist the industry isn't in danger.
They don't ask, is it Canadian or American? They said, can we ship it by Tuesday?
At a Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, Canadian automotive groups tried to calm the waters. The head of the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturers Association says Howard Lutnick's comments are just posturing.
We know that we need each other. We have an integrated supply chain. Canada is the most important market for the U.S. auto manufacturing sector. So we should expect these ups and downs through the next few weeks.
The U.S. currently has a 25% tariff on Canadian-made cars, with a carve-out for the U.S. elements in those vehicles. However, the Canadian auto parts industry says their American counterparts are lobbying the White House.
Those Canadian assembly plants buy $25 billion worth of parts from our factories every year, and you're hurting us.
The Ford Motor Company reported that tariffs will cost it about $2 billion U.S. this year. General Motors lost $1.1 billion in the second quarter. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says the Prime Minister isn't standing up for the industry.
He's accepting second place for Canadian auto workers and continuing tariffs on our finished products.
The federal finance minister disagrees, saying the Carney government is fighting for the auto sector and its workers.
I see ourselves, when I say that, Canada and the U.S. more as complementary than in real competition.
That argument is likely being made by the Minister of Canada-U.S. Trade, Dominic LeBlanc, who remains in Washington to continue talks with his American counterparts. Michael Couture, CTV News, Ottawa.
Coming up, there is relief in Gaza.
We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace.
It is a ceasefire agreement, and Hamas will have 72 hours to release the remaining hostages. And the Carney government will try again with its very controversial border bill. Donald Trump is calling it a momentous breakthrough. Israel and Hamas have reached an agreement on the initial phase to end the war in Gaza. But there are still questions about what will happen next and whether a ceasefire will hold. Marcus Moore is in Tel Aviv with the latest.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convening his cabinet, voting on a ceasefire plan with Hamas. The deal is expected to pass. President Trump today calling the deal, quote, a momentous breakthrough.
We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace.
The war began 2 years ago this week. Tens of thousands of lives have been lost. According to the agreement, Hamas will have 72 hours to release the remaining hostages. There are 20 believed to still be alive. Another 28 are deceased. In return, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners are believed to be under discussion for release. Additionally, Israel will withdraw some of its troops to, quote, an agreed-upon line. Celebrations in Israel as people learn that hostages will be released, and relief in Gaza as well. This woman saying at least our children can go to school, go out in the streets, and we can sit in our tents without fear. The plan unveiled last week after President Trump and Netanyahu met at the White House. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying this all fell into place in just the last few weeks.
When we were at the United Nations and you convened a historic meeting, not simply of Arab countries, but of Muslim majority countries from around the world, including Indonesia was there, Pakistan was there, and created this coalition behind this plan.
Questions remain, though, about phase 2 and the future of Gaza and the Palestinian people, many of whom have lost everything and are in desperate need of aid.
Gaza is going to be slowly redone. You have tremendous wealth in that part of the world by certain countries. I think you're going to see some tremendous countries stepping up and putting up a lot of money and taking care of things.
President Trump says he's likely going to travel to Israel in the coming days. Prime Minister Netanyahu has invited him to address the Israeli government. Marcus Moore, ABC News, Tel Aviv.
The majority of Canadians think boycotting American goods or travel will help strengthen Canada's bargaining position. A new Nanos poll finds 4 in 5 Canadians believe boycotting U.S.-made goods and travel is helpful. Older Canadians were more likely to support that idea. 85% of people over the age of 55 thought it would help. For people between the ages of 35 to 54, that number was 74%. A man is fighting to prove that he's an American citizen to try to get back into the U.S. The man was born in Canada, but he was adopted by Americans. Sarah Plowman reports.
Terrence McBride is stuck in St. John and drained like his bank account. Trouble that started after he pulled up to the U.S. border in Calais, Maine in April, trying to head home to Georgia.
I pulled in here. This is who I am. Are you an American citizen? Yes, I am. Where's your documents?
He says he was detained for a day and a half. The 63-year-old was born in Canada but adopted by American parents as a baby. He says he's American but has a Canadian passport. The adoption records and documents he brought to the border weren't enough.
I spent my whole life assuming I'm American. A couple of times I've crossed the border and they've said, hey, just so you know, you might need some stuff the next time you, but no big deal. Suddenly it's a big deal.
McBride says officials told him not to try to cross into the U.S. again until he gets a U.S. passport or his citizenship number. As he tried to make calls to dig up the files needed, he had a heart attack.
I thought I was dying. I just thought it was stress. I laid there for 2 days on the bathroom floor.
For nearly 6 months, he's lived in hotels, his truck, and now this rooming house. He's had to give up his dog, is without work. He's fundraising to hire a U.S. immigration lawyer to help.
I want to go home. They're the people that make me feel valued enough, loved, appreciated, thought of. I want to go there because I don't have that. I don't have that here.
Kelly Ortega is a U.S. immigration lawyer. While McBride is not her client, she suggests he could file a Freedom of Information Act request to get what he needs.
While he may very well have either green card status or even American citizen status, it's his responsibility to bear that evidence when he seeks entry.
All of it takes time and money.
It's just chiseling away at my heart, and my heart's breaking.
We reached out to U.S. Customs and Border Protection for a comment, but did not receive one before our deadline. Sarah Plowman, CTV News, Fredericton.
Coming up, the advertising pitch is no interest for a year.
In August, I had my last payment in my head due of $804.99, I believe, and I didn't get a statement.
But if you miss a payment, it's going to cost you a lot. And Toronto celebrates, and Yankee fans do a mass exodus out of Yankee Stadium.
Men's fashion is supplied by Ernest. Style for every moment. Ernest.
As we heard earlier in the newscast, the Quebec government has tabled its own constitution. David Urtel joins us. Hi, David.
Hi, Mitsumi.
So, David, what do you see of note that's included in this constitution? I mean, what do you think this document is trying to say to the rest of Canada, do you think?
Well, basically, it's political theater most than anything else, Mitsumi. This is cynicism. This is irony, because a political party that was built by saying the two old parties keep bickering about the Constitution in Canada. What is François Legault trying to do to save his floundering government is actually trying to create conflict with this document that is anything but a constitution. I've been practicing constitutional law for over 30 years, and any constitutional lawyer will tell you this has nothing to do with real constitutional building and bringing people together around a founding document. This has nothing to do. And also, this is within the Canadian framework, Mitsui. Let's remember this. This is allowed. BC has its own constitution. So this is nothing new, and this some groundbreaking work here in this document. Women and men are equal, Mitsumi. This is brand new for you. Quebec City is our capital. Brand new stuff for you. I mean, this is nothing less than a diversion, trying to push the PQ to a more extreme position politically, and try to trip up the Liberals as they did with Bill 96. So I don't see anything more than political theater and basically a political diversion.
Yeah, I was thinking about that diversion angle because, you know, this government is still, there's healthcare, they're in a mess with the doctors, there's education, there's SAC-CLIC, there's the cost of living. I really don't hear any average Quebecer clamoring for a new constitution. So how do they think that this somehow is going to help them?
Well, this is a desperate government. You know the polls, and poll after poll after poll. If an election were held today, the CQ would have 0 seats. That's the projection. 0 seats out of 125. And so this is a desperate Hail Mary, to take a football term, and saying that, trying to change the conversation. Look, I checked this evening. All the French major media outlets have this as a second, third, or fifth news story. This is not even leading the news this evening on the French side. That tells you how unimportant this truly is. So this will give work for constitutional law professors. It'll be interesting for a while. But honestly, this is nothing to help the average Quebecer right now that is worried about putting food on the table and paying their rent.
So then what opportunities do you see then for the opposition parties? I mean, you say that, you know, the PQ could likely be making a mistake if then they start pushing more for this or start talking about referendum. But who's going to bring it back? Who's going to bring it back and say, we've got to do something about the doctors? We've got to bring it back and say, what are we going to do about the cost of living?
Well, the real opportunity here, again, I see it with the Liberals. If last week, Pablo Rodriguez, not a very reported story, named Martin Coiteur, former Treasury Board president in the Couillard government. I served with him as the head of the political committee for the Liberals. Pablo is sending a clear message that for him, the economy is going to be the priority of his party politically. If he stays on message, if he even develops a message, which is we're still waiting for, there's an opportunity there. For the PQ, same thing. If they get in on secularism and French language and immigration, they're digging their own hole, their own grave here, because I think they have a problem because they haven't had an answer on this core issue, on all the core issues you mentioned.
Okay. So who do you think is going to step up? Do you care to guess? Because, you know, at this point, David, I think people are no longer listening. Not just to the CAQ, but they're not listening to the Liberal Party. They're not listening, you know. So
I agree. Right now, there's a void. I totally agree. It's about going to the bases and trying to activate and stirring up division. I think Quebecers right now are waiting, and that's what happened federally. Mark Carney swept in because he reassured people. He said, you know what, I'm going to take care of your most pressing need, the economy, and your more pressing worry, the Trump situation with the tariffs. If a political party right now in Quebec comes in, and that's the problem we're seeing municipally. Nobody's talking to Montrealers about the real issues. That's why 50% of the people say, I don't know and I don't care. So there is an opening there, but nobody has yet to take it and take the lead on it.
Okay. Thank you very much for this, David.
Take care, Matthew.
The Liberal government is making changes to its border bill by splitting it in two. Critics, though, say that change in strategy will do little to ease some key concerns. Abigail Beeman explains.
The motion is deemed adopted.
The Liberal government takes another stab at its border bill.
Putting forward a second bill that carves out the more contentious elements of Bill C-2 will enable us to get swifter passage.
The original C-2 saw pushback from opposition and more than 300 groups worried about overreach.
This was their signature response to pressures and requests from the U.S. government to improve the situation at our border. And they got it so wrong, so badly right off the bat, that the ministers basically had to use a mulligan and a do-over.
The new C-12 gets rid of 3 contentious elements. It removes the expansion of Canada Post's ability to search mail, no new restrictions on cash transactions over $10,000 to fight money laundering, and no expansion of what's known as lawful access, giving police more powers.
Feels like some of the chaos of the Trump White House, I think, is bleeding into how Prime Minister Carney's government is introducing legislation in Canada.
Because here's where it gets complicated. The original bill and its controversial clauses won't disappear, but still move separately through the legislative process.
C2 will still continue with the other elements, including lawful access, which I'm quite committed to.
Leaving critics saying their criticisms aren't truly addressed.
It's concerning to me, both the lack of coherence, but also that the government still thinks it's a good idea.
While the parts impacting migrants remain in both versions, with many still raising the alarm about new powers to cancel or suspend immigration documents.
It's concerning that the government is trying to basically ram this through as quickly as possible. And, this will come at great cost to a lot of the most vulnerable folks in the country.
That diverse coalition of 300+ groups tells CTV News it's still calling for the old bill to be repealed and the new one, too, saying they're both part and parcel of the same problem. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Retailers offer sometimes no interest for up to a year on big-ticket items. But there's a warning that goes with that. If that loan is not paid off in time, it could add thousands of dollars more to the final cost. Here's Pat Fore.
Which was don't pay for 1 year, no interest. So I thought, great, got it.
Nina Stanchevsky of Bradford saw an advertisement for a water softener and decided to get one for her home. The purchase price was $6,500, and last August she agreed to a deferred 0% interest loan for 12 months.
In August, I had my last payment in my head due of $804.99, I believe, and I didn't get a statement.
Stanchevsky says she found out the final payment was due on August 15th, but she made the payment a week late on August 22nd. Because she missed the deadline, she was charged more than $3,000 in interest.
I didn't get the final statement, so I didn't know when it was due.
Stanchevsky took out the loan with Flexity, a company that offers financing and payment plans for many different stores and services. When she complained, she was offered a discount of $900, which she declined, claiming she wasn't properly notified of her final due date.
I would like just for it to be forgiven. I mean, there's got to be some kind of grace period. There's got to be something. I paid it on the 22nd.
CTV News reached out to Flexity but did not get a response. But on the company's website, it does say, with deferred plans, the balance must be paid in full before the end of the term to avoid accrued interest being charged to your account.
They can be effective if the consumer is disciplined and can actually pay them off on time.
Retail analyst Bruce Winder says anyone using deferred payment plans must keep track of them carefully and pay them off before their due date to avoid interest charges.
If you're going to enter one of these plans, make sure that you have a very disciplined process at home where you pay on time, because you don't want to be looking at 30% plus interest rate on anything.
Stanchevsky feels she shouldn't have to pay $3,000 in interest for being 1 week late.
I'm not paying this, so write it off now, write it off later. In the end, not paying it.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
Weather, brought to you by Gratian Scavs Get 2 Pairs as a Gift event.
Well, we saw beautiful sunshine today and the skies were gorgeous with lots of sun. However, the temperatures were on the chillier side. Even in the past hour, the temperature feels a lot cooler. Thanks to my cameraman, JF, for bringing some gloves for me. And as we speak, believe it or not, I just witnessed some people coming back from a sunset surf. So I guess you can say they were polar bear swimming. It is certainly on the cooler side. That is why we are under a frost advisory overnight. But how warm did it get today? Well, our daytime high was only 12 degrees. Typically, we see highs around 14 this time of year. But, of course, we were far off from breaking that record in 1958 of 25 degrees. So we do have that frost advisory in effect still tonight as we head into tomorrow. This is affecting Montreal, parts of the eastern townships, as well as Quebec City. We're seeing those temperatures close to freezing. So if you have any plants that are delicate, they should be brought indoors. And it's also a chance to remind you that you should bundle up. Now, overnight, we will see clear skies and that low of 2 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we start the day off with lots of sunshine, calling for mostly sunny skies. Later in the day, we start to see some clouds move in, and it looks like just before sunset, we're looking at a mix of sun and clouds, but sunshine will be part of our weather story tomorrow, hitting a daytime high of 15 degrees. So it should be similar to today, slightly warmer, but don't be deceived. You definitely need extra layers, especially if you're going to be out and about on Friday night. I'd like to sort of give you an insight into the next 7 days because we are dealing with some warmer temperatures. So the cold is only going to last for the next couple of days, but come Saturday, mostly sunny skies is what we're calling for with a high of 18 degrees, Sunday 19 degrees. Now, Thanksgiving, it looks like we could see around 2 millimeters of rain, cloudy for Tuesday with a high of 18 there. So that's also a warmer day. Wednesday, we're looking at around 1 millimeter of rain, and we could also see rain later on in the week. I'll be back with more weather details a little later.
And coming up, finally, there is a new treatment.
I think Jesse would probably smile and say, well, it's about time.
A drug approved in Canada for a disease that mostly affects boys. And the price of gold. It is a modern-day gold rush.
What's on Montreal? Brought to you by Tanguay, your comfort zone.
There are many ways to be entertained this long weekend in Montreal. Get ready for the glitz and the glamour of the Montreal Burlesque Festival. From exciting performances to eye-catching costumes, it wraps up on Saturday night. Also taking the stage Saturday night, the Gypsy Kings featuring Nicolas Reyes. Enjoy the sounds of Spanish guitar at Place des Arts when the legendary band performs at 8 o'clock. Gaming and live music collide at Stardew Valley Symphony of Seasons. A 35-piece orchestra will perform memorable music from the Stardew Valley video game. That's at Théâtre Saint-Denis Sunday night. Some of the most promising musicians from around the world will compete at the Grand Organ Festival 2025. There are dozens of shows to choose from, and it runs until October 26th. And be dazzled by the fall foliage at Festival des Couleurs de Rigaud. From Saturday until Monday, there are many outdoor activities to choose from. For What's on Montreal, I'm Lauren Fernandez.
Your Health, brought to you by Gratian Scouts Get 2 Pairs as a gift event.
A new drug has just been approved for use in Canada. It treats a rare neurological disorder that affects mostly young boys. Pauline Chan has more.
6-year-old Oliver is an active boy, and his parents hope he'll stay that way for a long time.
So yeah, skiing, biking, fishing.
It's all thanks to a new drug, Agamree or vamorolone, just approved in Canada for boys with Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
The difficulty in Duchenne muscular dystrophy revolves around a protein called dystrophin, and that protein is either missing or not working well based on a problem in the gene.
The muscles break down and inflammation leads to the formation of scar tissue.
Vamorolone helps to reduce that muscle inflammation, thereby, kind of preventing some of the scar tissue formation and that ends up accompanying the muscle damage.
Dr. Craig Campbell says because this drug was specifically developed for Duchenne patients, it reduces the typical side effects associated with traditional steroid treatments, things like fragile bones, weight gain, and short stature.
He got on during the clinical trial, and he's doing so far really good. We see no side effects, and he's got good strength for now and good stamina.
There are drugs that are available for boys with Duchenne. They're available in the United States, the United Kingdom, the European Union, but they were not available in Canada.
John Davidson, who toured Canada in support of his son Jesse as he battled Duchenne muscular dystrophy, says Defeat Duchenne Canada played a key role in funding research on vamorolone. Jesse died in 2009 at the age of 29.
I think Jesse would probably smile and say, well, it's about time.
Vamorolone is only approved for patients up to a certain weight, but Oliver's family hopes by the time he reaches that, new medications will be available. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The price of gold is at the highest it's ever been. But does that mean it's time to cash in? Here's Andrew Rowan.
Old necklaces, your old herringbones that get mangled and tangled. You have old class rings.
Keith Druckenmiller has been seeing a lot of this recently. The sign on the window says it all.
The only other time we've been this busy was back in 2010, 2011 when gold and silver ran up last time.
Since then, the price for gold has more than doubled. The payout for an ounce is up 50% so far this year, hitting $4,000 per ounce for the first time.
10 years ago, if you had said that, they would have thought you were crazy.
The price of gold, if you're looking to sell, is high, but what if you're looking to buy some?
14 karat gold, 18 karat gold. Pricing is still, in many cases, a year or 2 years old because most jewelers don't reprice things after they purchase it.
John Green is the fourth generation owner of Lux Bond and Green.
Beautiful American-made charm bracelet.
He says now might be your golden opportunity to buy.
I think come next year, people are going to see higher prices for when they purchase gold, when they purchase silver. Because silver has almost doubled in price.
The gold gains are driven by market uncertainty and recession fears, according to Goldman Sachs.
The markets, you can't predict them. If you can, that's what you should do for a living.
So what can you do? Well, gold rush through your drawers.
How do you know what you have?
That's why a lot of people come here. We're a trusted source. We know what we're doing. We're honest. We've been here 127 years.
A new market milestone worth its weight in gold.
Business news brought to you by Oviedo Duluth. Generous and delicious meals, ideal for a cozy dinner or group gathering.
Aritzia's expansion into the United States is going well. Mirella Fernandez has more on this retailer's success.
Revenues up 32% at Aritzia. The Canadian clothing retailer reported its latest earnings after the trading day ended. Net revenue came in at $812 million for the latest quarter, and that easily surpassed expectations. The company is seeing strong sales in the U.S. They were up 40% year over year. A company called Deep Sky plans to build a carbon capture facility in Manitoba. The $500 million project would capture about 500,000 tons of carbon dioxide a year and send it underground. Deep Sky is looking to build outside of Brandon. Box office revenue came in at $37.7 million for Cineplex in September. That's $2 million more than September of 2024. Cineplex says moviegoers came out to see The Conjuring: Last Rites, and that helped to boost its bottom line. Here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar is down more than 1/3 cent to 71.30. West Texas Intermediate crude is down close to $1 to 61.03. Western Canadian Select is up to 51.43, and the TSX dropped 232 points today. Those are your business headlines. I'm Mirella Fernandez.
For breaking news and local news that matters to you, download the CTV News app right now by scanning the QR code on your screen using your smartphone. Or you can also go to our website, ctvnewsmontreal.ca.
The Toronto Blue Jays are headed to the American League Championship Series. John Vanavali Rao now on what Americans are saying about Toronto's win.
On America's Fox Sports, as they watched the Canadian team celebrate, there came the moment of pure joy for Jays fans. The Yankee lose. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and slugging legend David Ortiz repeatedly ribbing panelists Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez, both Yankees legends.
Hey, let's do it again. The Yankees lose.
Fox 5's Richard Jacobus is live.
Earlier on a local Fox News station, the reporter expressed surprise as Yankees fans streamed out of the stadium before the game ended.
I think we could say this is over. I've never seen a mass exodus like this.
You like losing?
While on the Talkin' Yanks podcast, the hosts couldn't have looked more disheartened. Summed up by this play on the Boys of Summer that was a headline in the New York Post.
The Blue Jays were better and kicked their ass.
On New York-based WFAN Radio, callers acknowledged the Jays played well, and the host posting this message.
Just watching Vladimir Guerrero Jr. celebrate, good for him, he deserves it. He's not the fraud. The Yankees are the frauds. This offense was a fraud.
It's really a masterclass.
Rodriguez noting the Jays came in last place in their division last year, but made a remarkable turnaround. What some in New York thought was a fluke heading into the playoffs.
They came into New York saying, oh, so you guys all think that this was a fluke. And over 4 games, they showed they were the better team, they were better prepared, and they played better.
As for how the Jays will fare going forward,
how do you like their chances right now?
I love their chances.
While Yankees Nation hearing the line, sports fans in Toronto are so accustomed to hearing.
As you said, there's always next season. Hope springs eternal.
John Benavalli-Rouse, CTV News, Toronto.
Laura and I had to get my gloves out too this morning.
Yeah, that's pretty much what we're going to be dealing with again tomorrow morning because we are still under a frost advisory overnight. We're seeing lows close to the freezing mark, so let's take a closer look at what we're seeing over the next 24 hours. So clear skies, which will be very nice, that 2 degrees. Tomorrow morning, we start the day off at 6, calling for mostly sunny skies with a daytime high of 15 degrees. Although this is 1 degree above seasonal, be prepared that it'll probably be cool, especially after the sun sets. I can tell you that from first-hand experience right now. Saturday, we're looking at a beautiful 18 degrees, lots of sunshine, 19 for Sunday. We do have a risk of some showers around 2 millimeters on Monday, so that's on Thanksgiving. And then come Tuesday, we're seeing cloudy skies with a daytime high of 18. So we have some temperatures all over the place, but try and make the most of the beautiful sunshine we have on Friday.
And that's it for us. Have a good evening. Stay well. Good night.